Namaste and welcome to the Essence of Knowledge weekly meeting, which is a part of the Essence of Knowledge program. This program is available online for free on gyanmar.guru for everybody. In these meetings, I try to answer your questions and we do some jobs related to the program. So all questions are most welcome if there are any. Shaila is saying you can take some topic and begin discussion. No, this is not discussion. This is not lecture. I do not tell you anything. This is the point. Otherwise, I wouldn't record anything. The recorded lessons are the discussion that I want to do. The topics that you already heard are the topics I know. So there is no point in repeating that because I don't know anything else. So these 20 lessons, if there is anything, any doubt, any question, if you are trying to verify it but you cannot verify it, if you think it is wrong, something is not good, and these meetings are for that, for asking questions. Otherwise, I have already discussed everything related to the path of knowledge, everything that I know at least, and it is presented to you. Step number 2. Anu is saying, need explanation for this content from lesson 19 on oneness. There is experience separate from experiencer, and there is experiencer not separate from experience. Yes, it is a shortcut way of saying that when you look at the two aspects of the existence as changing and unchanging, these two aspects are there. You can verify that indeed there are these two aspects. Then they will be seen as separate because the changing cannot become the unchanging and the unchanging never changes. One is called names and forms, the other is called essence. In our program, the changing part is called experience, currently whatever you are witnessing, and the unchanging part or the essence is called the experiencer. It is seen as that which is witnessing. Sometimes we say, I am that, I am the experiencer. That is how it is seen, it is understood. So one cannot become the other. The experience cannot become the experiencer. Experiencer cannot be seen as an experience. So categories are separate. These two categories, these two ways of looking at the existence are separate. You cannot mix them. However, only the categories are separate. There is no actual separation. These two ways of looking at the existence are simply intellectual divisions. In reality, and the changing part is not separate from the unchanging part. Where separation means any kind of boundary, any kind of division, any kind of separation in time or place, in any sense of separation, it is never seen. They are actually not separate. The division is made by the intellect in order to study it, study the oneness, study the existence, different aspects of it. Because that is how the intellect operates. Sometimes we do not call it intellect, we say mind, common language. That is how the mind operates. It divides whatever is there. It categorizes, it tries to know, it gains knowledge like this. So we do not stop at the first division, which is of experience and experiencer. We go ahead and divide the experience into many forms. So the basic division that is told in your program of experience is experience of the world or objects, experience of the body, and experience of the mind, mental experiences. So this is very basic division. We do not stop there because that is how the mind operates. That is how it can understand anything at all, by dividing. However, fully knowing that it is not, the division is not really there. The division is false, and that means the divisions appears to be there. In reality, the experiences of the world, body and mind are not really separate. They are categorizations. And same way, and the experience and the experiencer are not separate. We have categorized the existence in order to find what is there. Anu is saying, so you mean this sentence explains 2 points of views? It is simply is an attempt to remove our beliefs about the existence. Existence means whatever there is, whatever is. They are not 2 points of views. They are descriptions in order to understand what is. Because if I say there are 2 points of views, that means which one is right? The question will be, the next question will be, which point of view is the correct point of view? No, they both are correct. So an example is a clay pot and clay. Can you call the clay as clay pot? Or can you call the shape of the clay pot as clay? Or the name of the clay pot as clay? And the answer is no. But are they separate? Can you take out the clay pot from the clay? Can you take out the clay from the clay pot and leave the pot alone? Not possible. So are these 2 points of views of looking at the clay pot? No. We are simply removing the belief that they are two or they are separate or so on, you see. I think that is the more correct answer, but in short, you can say yes. There are points of views of looking at the existence. Sometimes we look at the aspects by dividing, but fully knowing that the division is intellectual. Just like the division of clay and clay pot is not really there. Same way, wave and ocean. The wave is ocean, and the ocean is all the waves. So there is no real division between the wave and ocean. However, when we separate like this intellectually by the mind, when the mind separates them, it becomes easy to understand what is happening there. When the wave is taken out separately as a concept, and then we can see that that is the changing part of the ocean, and it becomes possible to see that the essence or the water is the unchanging part. The waves come and go, but the water remains. So this gives us more knowledge. This gives us insights about what is. Or you can simply say it is one, and that does not explain a lot of things. And so people start believing things. People start making assumptions about. And to remove all these assumptions, we then clarify it, how it is. So when I say that they are not separate, does that mean that experience is now gone and the experiencer is also gone? No, they are still there, not separate. Just like when I say the wave and water are not separate, that does not mean the wave disappear or the water disappears and something else comes there. No, they are still there. Same way, experience and experiencer are always there. However, they are not separate. How do we know they are not separate? How do we know that it is simply intellectual division? By reversing the division, by trying to see what really divides them. Where is the separation? And we will never find it. We will never find it. So that is why it is called not to non-dual existence. Hopefully it is clear. So in short, you can write one sentence like this. The wave cannot be water, the water cannot be wave, but the water is not separate from the wave. This is short form. Same way you can write. Experience cannot be the experiencer, and the experiencer cannot be the experience, but they are not separate. I think there is one more sentence in the lesson. Somewhere I said that these are mutually exclusive categories. That is another short form of saying that you cannot put the experiencer in the category of experience, or you cannot call the experiencer as some kind of experience, any kind of experience. That means they are mutually exclusive, they exclude each other. However, it is all one. Radha is asking, all we can say and make peace with it by saying that everything is changing and will change for sure. Yes, your statement seems to be correct. We can make peace with the experience part, because obviously everything is not changing, the experiencer is not changing, which is the essence of the existence. But that which is visible, that which is apparent, will keep changing. There is no solution to that. It cannot stop changing. Sooner you accept this fact everything changes. Everything is just impermanent. And the better it is for the peace of mind. That will result in detachment. Nothing stays. So enjoy the moment. Like this, you can derive a whole philosophy based only on this one observation of impermanence. Or you can establish a way of living, the art of living, simply by this one truth about the existence. Okay, Aditya has a question. Experiencer doesn't create experience, but both are eternal and ever existing. And since we cannot find them separately, we say both are non dual. Am I correct? But when we take clay as essence, then it creates some confusion that experiencer makes experience. Yes, you are correct that we cannot find them separately. Although we cannot find the one also, because it is not an experience. So finding means experiencing something. Since the existence is not an object, like the objects that appear in the world, it is not that. So you will not find the one. If you want to experience the one existence, show me the one. No, it will never be seen because it is not an experience. It is just being. And the good news is you are already that. You are that being. So we do not mind really, because being is better than seeing it outside somewhere. It is impossible because as soon as you see it somewhere as one thing, it becomes two again, because now seer and seen and the division is made. When you try to look for it, you will not find it and the one. But if you try to be it, you will see I am already the one. It is understood as being one, not seeing one. So yes, the word create is concept. I'll repeat that sentence. It is very important. And the concept of creation is a human concept. It is imagination only. Nothing gets created in existence. Even the clay and clay pot, the clay pot is never created. How to prove it? Because it is simply the form of the clay that changed, isn't it? Let us say the clay was, there is a pile of clay, wet clay. Then it changes into some regular form, round form, let us say, like clay pot, hollow. And that's all happened. Then the mind says it is a creation, but it is only a change. It is only a change. And since the experiencer does not change, you cannot even say that the experiencer changed into experience. That is also impossible. So remove the concept. That's all can be done. It cannot be explained. Removal of our superimposed concepts is the only possibility. That is the only knowledge. Now, if the mind says, if the intellect says, then how is the experience getting created? How it is coming? What makes it appear? Again, it is diving into more concepts, because the belief there is that it needs to be created somehow. Everything needs to be created in order to exist. That means even the first thing needs to be created, isn't it? From wherever it is coming, that source also needs to be created. But that will cause infinite questions. So our notions are wrong. That can be shown. Our ideas are wrong. Nothing is ever created. Even in the world, nothing is created. Just like I gave an example of clay pot. Nothing gets created. Only it appears to change. And these words are carefully chosen now. It does not really change. It appears to change. Pile of clay appears to change into clay pot. The clay pot is also mind created. It is not really there. Why? It is a distortion created by the senses. If the senses change, the shape and size and color, they all will change, isn't it? If the eyes are changed, let us say you get the eyes of an insect or some alien or something else, robot, you will not see the same clay pot. You will see something, but it won't be the same which humans see, perceive. So perception is itself an illusion. So it appears, we say, it is an illusion. So really what happened here? One illusion changed into another illusion. What was known? Nothing was known. Only the mind got tangled into these concepts of creations and all. And then comes the idea of creator, because the pot is not going to create itself. Although in nature, you will find objects that create themselves. For example, a river. It is simply the rain falls and it becomes a shape of river. Nobody creates it. Then you can see another example of a fruit. The tree produces the fruit. Cannot say that the tree created the fruit. It's not possible. It simply appears there. So, but what do we see? The pot is getting created by a person. It is not appearing out of air there. So the mind assumes a creator, potter. However, there is no doer there. The person is also an assumption. There is no person there. It is also false. Can you see? So mind is buried under a lot of assumptions, a lot of concepts. You can prove all these things, that actually the pot is appearing, even though it looks like it is appearing through an agency of the potter. But there is no agency in potter. It is also appearing. It is simply event in the causal chain, you can say. So then you can use this example to show that nothing gets created, giving the same argument that from which it is created, that thing also needs to be created. If it is a rule that everything must be created, then this object is getting created from something. That means that something needs to be created. So the clay pot is getting created from the clay. Now the clay needs to be created. So you can say that it is getting created from the atoms or earth or matter, whatever, more concepts. But then you will hit a wall somewhere, because then the matter cannot be created, or whatever is creating the matter cannot be created. So there is no real creation. Nothing appeared out of nothing. It is only change. What kind of change? Illusory change. And what is the meaning of this sentence? Illusory change. It simply means I don't know what is happening. It simply means after removing all these concepts, I am left with unknowing, which is the real state of the existence. There is nothing to know here. Here we arrive at the agnostic position. This is the highest position. So like this you contemplate, try to remove as many concepts as you can. How to remove the concepts? They will be seen as illogical. They will not hold after a limited area. It is very easy to say that we create the clay pot from the clay. That much area, that much context, it seems logical, yes. But then you try to apply it to everything, including the existence or the experience or the experiencer. Now it becomes meaningless. So you can see that for the need of survival or for practical purposes, the intellect creates all these concepts of creator, creation, creating, appearing, whatever. So it is very important to not to extend the metaphor. When I say clay and clay pot, do not extend the story behind it. That is not applicable as metaphor now. Yes, practically or approximately you can say in the language of ignorance that the clay creates the clay pot. But that is not a part of the metaphor. The metaphor is limited only to names and forms and essence. That's all. So it is very important not to cross the limits of the metaphor. That much example was given only to make you understand somehow. It is not understanding. It is just similar thing, similar idea. So then the mind will create a story behind it. Oh, the clay, he said clay. So something created the clay pot and somebody created it. But no, that was not the part of the metaphor. So that is the cause of your confusion. You took the whole story as metaphor. Shaila is saying, can the existence be put in the category of concept? Then the question comes that whether this concept exists, and the answer is yes. So a concept also exists. It is a part of the existence. How is that possible then? How is the whole existing as a concept in the whole? Amazing, isn't it? So how do we differentiate concepts and that which is actually there, that which actually exists? or you can say in technical words, that which is true, how we differentiate from the concept. And the concept is mentally created. It is words, they are ideas, they are relationships, abstract relationships, so on. However, the truth is not creation of the mind. This is how we differentiate. That is why direct experience is needed. So example here is very good example, and the person is a concept. However, the body mind exists, isn't it? It is illusory, yes, but still it is a part of the existence. However, the person cannot be cannot be said to exist except as a concept. As a concept, it is a part of the existence. It is a part of the whole. However, it is pointing to something abstract. What is the concept of person? What is it saying? That there is a thing which has a body, which has a mind, which has a personality. You see, the word personality comes from person only, which simply means there is a set of behavior here. He's a good person, bad person. He thinks like this. He belongs to this country. He is male, female, whatever. You see, all these qualities are then branded as a person. You take all these qualities, descriptions of whatever is happening in relation to that body mind, and put it in a box and label that box as a person. That is the person. And just like the other person, I am also a person. That is how the mind works. That is how the ignorant mind works, isn't it? It is not really bad. This is very useful. The concept of person is very useful in society. However, you will never see the person. You will see a set of other concepts, other ideas. What exists is body mind, bodily processes, mental processes. Some people will say even the body is not there, it is a concept, isn't it? What exists is a collection of cells. Collection of cells only. Because our senses provide an outline of it. We can differentiate where the cells end and start. We have an outline of that thing. Gross senses tell us it is a separate thing, body. How it is not a separate thing. It is not a monolithic one thing, body. It is a collection of organs, and all organs are collections of cells. But a scientist will now say that cells also are not units. They are collections of molecules and atoms. So, is there a body or are there atoms? Problem, isn't it? So, like this, everything is a concept. Or in simple words, you can say it appears to be a body. There is something there which appears to be a body. It is not the body. That is why illusion, maya, it is not that. A little bit of examination is needed and you can see that everything is like this. Something depends on the other thing, and this other thing also depends on something else. Ultimately, they are all empty. Nothing originates from the first principle. There is no substance. That is why we call it emptiness. The whole existence is like this. It is only emptiness. And things appear. Nothing more can be said. So, is the existence a concept? No. This is what there is. It is not an idea in the mind. Another test of the concept is, even if you remove the concept, the original stays. About which the concept is, the original will stay. So, you remove the concept of person. Let us say there is a villager or a tribal person, tribal man, who has no concept of personality or person, or an animal. But the body mind will not disappear, isn't it? Simply because that man does not know what a person is. All the cells, all the thoughts, all the emotions will be there. So this is another test. If you can remove it, yes, it is a concept only. So you can try that removal thing on existence. Remove the concept of existence. Did everything disappear? Like this you can think. Okay, Anu is saying, is that why in the example of red tomato you say there is no redness and there is no round shape because it is never created? There are more reasons of saying that there is no red and there is no round. One reason is that yes, nobody created it, nothing created it. Plus, and there are no real qualities there of redness and roundness. They appear to be there. Reason is not only that nothing created it, there are many reasons. It is an illusion created by the senses. senses change and the colors and shapes change. So there is a dependency there, just like I was saying, everything needs something to exist. So when a scientist tries to find red color in the world, in the physical world, nothing is found. So that makes us say that it is an illusion, the color red. It is not there. This is how it is appearing. Same about shapes. You can do this homework, try to know why shapes are not really there. And same thing about sounds and smells, etc. Whole experience provided by the senses. Then you can go and extend it into mind. Whatever appears in the mind also is illusion. So we are left with nothing really. That is why it is called empty. Can we say that there is no red, there is no shape? No, that will be half correct. That is half truth. There is red, there is shape, but it is illusory. You can say this sentence is true. But in short, you can say no, there is no red, and no other color, there is no round. So ultimately, the existence comes out to be without qualities, because these qualities are illusory, and the illusory means that we really don't know why it is there, how it is there. But it is not true, that much we know. So, and that the original nature of the existence cannot be called truly with qualities. It does not have any true qualities. There are illusory qualities, and how many illusory qualities? Infinite. So it is as good as not having any qualities. You can ask this question to the ocean. What is the real shape of the wave that you produce? So the ocean will say that first of all, I don't produce anything. It appears. The waves appears and they are infinite. So there is no real shape. There is no true shape of the wave. There is no true wave, the ocean will say in one sentence. I don't have waves. They appear. Same way, there is no real form in the existence. It appears. It is very easy to say like this, isn't it? And it sounds so beautiful, the beautiful Advaita philosophy or Buddhist philosophy. However, you need to verify these things. You need to sit down, contemplate why this is like this. Try to know. Don't simply listen, because listening is only half knowledge. Half of the method to gain knowledge is listening. The other half is verification. Find it in your experience. Is it like this? Is there no real quality in the existence? He said like this in the lesson. Let me check it. Whatever I said right now is an example of contemplation only. How I went into the details and found that there is no real quality. Is that right? You need to verify it. Otherwise, you cannot call it my knowledge. You can say that people say like this. I heard somebody say like, it won't become your knowledge. It is necessary to verify. So that's why I said, I'm not here to tell you anything. I don't know anything. I'm here to answer your questions. If you have any questions, I'll answer it. Actually, I don't answer the question. I shut down the question. I destroy the question. Okay, Anu is asking. So, for a color-blind person, red tomato might appear in some other color, and so on. And for a blind person, there is no concept of color. Exactly, yes. Why do we say color is false or illusion? Because it changes with the instrument that is used to perceive it. You don't need to go to the colorblind. You can do an experiment. Shine blue light on tomato, assuming it is red in white light. You put it in a room where there is only blue light. Now what happens is, science will say, physics, that it absorbs all kinds of lights except the red light. That's why it appears red. So exactly, that is a good description. It will absorb the blue light, but there is no red to reflect. So it will appear black. Is it black? Is it red? What if your sun turns into blue light only, instead of there is no red in the spectrum, let us say. And you grow up on this planet Earth where the sun is blue. All the tomatoes are black. And if somebody comes another planet where they have the red kind of light, you will laugh at them. They tell us that the tomatoes are red. There is nothing like red. I've never seen this thing. You will laugh at them. Is it red or is it black? Depends. If it depends on something else, you can confidently say it is not the true color. Same for all the colors. And you can now confidently say there is no such thing as color. It is an illusion. And it can appear as anything, any color. In fact, if you change the chemicals in the eyes that interact with the light, the color changes. Some people have an ability to see some more colors which we cannot see. Some insects and some birds, they have different, we call them receptors in the eyes, different chemicals. So it is totally made up. The whole illusion is made up. Why are tomatoes and other fruits red, not black or green? That helps in survival, isn't it? Immediately you can see. If the fruits are seen as differently colored than leaves, immediately the creature can see it, eat it, and it will survive. So why red? And the answer is very easy. It was needed for survival. That's why it got created. Or it appeared like this. Because just now I said that nothing gets created. So people will object here. In the language of ignorance, we say, yes, it is mind created. The brain creates the experience, Materialist will say like this. They will not use our language. They will say it is real, but the brain creates it. I have never seen anybody say that these colors and shapes are real. Any ism, you can take materialism also. They will also not say that it is real. Same in Tantra. They are pro-illusion. That means they are for the illusion. But they will also never say that the only possible color of tomato is red. In fact, the tantric will say, what color you want it to be? You want a golden tomato? Yes, take it, golden. So, nobody will say it is real. Okay, Sunil has a question. It is said that both experiencer and experience always exist together. I am clear that there cannot be experience without experiencer. But I am still not fully clear that there cannot be experiencer without the experience. Because when I compare existence with movie theater, screen as the experiencer and movie as the experience, and I think that it is logical to say that there can be screen without a movie, but there cannot be any movie without the screen. With this logic, can I also say that there can be experiencer without experience? Now, this is creating confusion in me for saying the experience is also as eternal as experiencer. Yes, the screen metaphor can give you this illusion, this appearance that the screen can be without anything on it. Pay attention that I am saying anything. I am not saying picture. Picture is one thing. But it will be seen as white, isn't it? That is experience. The screen is appearing as pure white. Can you see a screen without anything at all? That means you will never see the screen also then. Now the metaphor is corrected. And now we are not loosely using the metaphor. Now it is bulletproof metaphor. Have you seen a screen where there is nothing to see at all? Now your confusion will be removed, which was caused by the metaphor. Now let us take another metaphor where the screen is air. Air is the screen. And there is a technology, let us say, assume, because it is a metaphor. There is a technology that can project pictures on air. It is possible. You call it hologram. So it is not nothing. There are atoms there, some gases. So hologram. Is it possible to see the screen there and without anything appearing? Can you even call it a screen? No. A difficult metaphor, but it is closer to experience and experiencer. Because the experiencer is not seen. It is not even a screen. It does not appear at all. It is blank, empty, like air or space. Still something is appearing there. So Sunil is saying even the blank screen is also an experience. Exactly. The screen is confusing. That's why I said metaphor has a limit. You should not extend it beyond its use. Let us take another metaphor of clay and clay pot, which is standard. Have you seen the clay without any shape? Some people will say, yes, if you break the clay pot, it is without any shape. No, that broken shape is there. And some people will say, before creating any shape, there is only clay. No, that pile of clay is the shape. It is irregular, yes. No, before digging, there was no shape. No, it was in the shape of earth, ground. It was a part of the ground. So the clay is never seen without a shape. That will not cause it any confusion. The shape is eternal. You can say like this. Clay will say, my shapes are eternally present. However, I take all the shapes, any shape, any form. And the names change with the forms. The experience is always present. It changes. Sometimes you can have an experience which does not look like any object, does not look like any thought or emotion. It is a peaceful experience, like deep sleep, isn't it? But it is an experience, like blank screen or irregular clay or an ocean without a wave. Instead of ocean, you can take the example of a pond, lake, and it is no wind is blowing, so it is very silent. There is still a shape. There are no separate waves, but the whole surface is the shape. So that still pond has a shape. So it will never go away. Even you need to study the metaphor also a little bit. In case of metaphors also, the shapes don't go away. How they are appearing, that does not go away. Otherwise, it won't be possible to imagine it. Even in the metaphor of hologram, the air does not go away. Now, that is one thing. The metaphor issue is probably taken care of. The confusion created by metaphors is gone, hopefully. Sunil saying, yes, it is getting clear now. Now you take a direct look. Leave the metaphor. It's done. Now directly experience. Have you seen the experiencer without the experience? Has anybody encountered or known the experiencer without having any experience? Is that knowledge possible? Think about it. We are very much sure that I have never encountered. I am using this word encounter, you see, because now the word seeing is confusing because it involves eyes and so on. So you will say, no, the experiencer is invisible. Now we are using another word, encounter, found, known. So we are very sure that I never encountered an experience without there being the experiencer. And the knowledge is that they are simultaneously present at the same time. They are together always. This is very much established. Now tell me an event where we found only the experiencer. It was known surely that look, here is the experiencer. No experience at all. Was there anything like this? Or has anybody found it like this? So the funny thing is, there cannot be any knowledge if there is no experience. All the knowledge comes from experience. Even if it is negative knowledge, that I am not an experience, this is negative knowledge, but it requires negation of the experience. So the experiencer will never be known separately as standalone thing. Never be known. We can say there is experiencer simply because there is this body-mind instrument. There is this memory and intelligence. And there is the whole world to support this organism. That means knowledge is possible only if there is some experience. Otherwise, it will become imagination. I am not saying it's wrong to imagine. It is useless. The same way you can imagine experience without the experiencer. You can imagine. That brings us back to objectivism or materialism, some kind, where it is assumed that the objects exist even if nobody is looking at them, even if there is no experiencer. Because in materialism, actually there is no experiencer. So what they say, that the world, the body, they are real, they're true, and they're always there. No, I'm not looking at that thing. How can I say it is there? No, it is always there, they will say. Because when you look, you will find it. It is another, you can say, philosophy only. But the whole point lies in the looking. The knowledge is not there if nobody is looking. So we cannot say if the object is there or not. That is the honest statement. I don't know. That is the honest. Same way you can say, I can imagine experience being present without the experiencer, but I really don't know because it was never encountered. It was never found. It was never known like this. I'm not sure. That is the honest answer. Same way you can say, experiencer can exist without any experience, but I've never seen it like this. It was never seen like this. It was never known like this. These two always appear at the same time. Why? That is the real surprise. Why? Why you cannot know them separately, one without the other? Because they are one. Now, no surprise. If you start from the one, no surprise that one is not found without the other. The coin is not found with one side absent. Have you seen a coin without the other side? Even if you sand it down, file it, make it plain, still the side is there. Same way, a paper is not found with one side missing. Take a page, write page number 1 on one side, page number 2 on other side. Now try to make the page number 2 disappear. Either you burn down the whole paper or you always get both sides. Why? Anybody will start wondering, why is that I cannot get rid of the other side? Because it is one. The paper or the coin do not really have two separate independent sides. One thing. Same way, existence is one. It does not really have separation of experience and experiencer. That's why you will never find them separately. Even if you imagine them separately or you have a doubt about it, that is completely useless. That imagination is purely imagination, not even a good imagination. It is a false imagination. We are simply assuming something wrong. That means this is amazing. The consistency in path of knowledge or non-dualism is amazing. You cannot find a hole there. There is nothing illogical here. That is why I am so confident when I say, verify this thing. If you don't find it true, you can drop the program. Stop the program there because it is useless now. If you don't find it true or logical, or the teachings turn out to be contradictory or something made up. Why there is so much confidence and why this philosophy is standing since many thousand years. We don't know how many thousand years, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 years. It is the eternal philosophy. Everybody tried to falsify it and everybody failed. That is why we are sure that we found the final truth. It cannot be falsified. Now, the practical thing. Is it possible to imagine experiencer separate and experience separate and independently existing? It is possible. In order to study them, we actually separate them. Now we can forget the experiencer and study the experience part, which is the science part. And we can do the opposite. We forget the experience and study the experiencer, where you will find nothing. Nothing changes there, nothing, no qualities, nothing at all. So no study. No study, no confusion. This is the formula. So you can be confused about what is experience, but we are never confused about what is experiencer because that is me. That is the certain truth. And I know that can appear as anything because this is existence itself. It can appear as anything. So there also no confusion. But what is appearing is totally confusing because it is totally illusory. Nothing can be said about the illusion also, you see. That is why we say both are unknowable. Finally, we say both are unknowable. I can drop my beliefs. I can drop my imaginations and assumptions and come back in my pure state. That is the goal of path of knowledge, isn't it? There is no knowledge, finally. Sunil is saying, even though we say that experience is illusion, but if we go deep, everything we do or know are the part of experience only. Am I right? And by we, if you mean humans, isn't it? By we, W-E. So, yes, humans are illusion itself. So, whatever is known is the experience only, which is illusion. So, all the knowledge is illusory. Whatever is done is simply a change in the experience of some kind. using this body mind, which is illusory. So there is no doer really. It is an illusion. Whatever is done is again an experience. Whatever happens there, it is also illusory. So everything is illusion. Yes. So I don't know why the doing and knowing is appearing at the same time in your sentence, but they are different topics. So not only we know only the experience, which means only the false, whatever happens or is done is actually double illusion, because nothing really happens and there is no doer also. Doing is a concept. You can check it, you see. Check it. There is no doer. And whatever the we stands for, human being, is itself an illusion. That is an experience. Like you must have heard many gurus saying, we are currently having an experience of human beings. Here the we stands for something else. It stands for the existence or the universe or experience or whatever they want to call it in their philosophy. So we are having an embodied experience. Many other people spiritual people will say, I am embodied. And that means it is not real really. It is not really there. I am not that. What they are saying, I am not that. So if I am not that, whatever this thing does is not my doing. And if it is an illusion, then there is no doer. Akash is saying, can I ask an unrelated question? What is self? The self experienced by body and mind or brain. It has many meanings, the word self. When you write it with small s, it is the ego or the person. When you write the self with capital S, some people do in some traditions, it means the experiencer. So small s, it always means the ego. It is simply ideas or thoughts in the mind. And the ideas have parts in them that this self has a body, this self has a mind, this self has these likes, dislikes, these desires, and this gender, this kind of behavior, so on, you see. So all the things that are related to the body mind can be called self. Yes, this small self is ego itself. The self is personal person itself. There is no difference between ego and self. So it is not that the ego is a separate thing and the small self is something else. No, they are names of the same concept or idea. But it is not good to say that the self is experienced by body and mind or brain. These are themselves experiences. One experience cannot experience anything else, any other experience. So this small self or the concept of the self is experienced by the experiencer, not by mind, brain or any other organ in the body. So I just clarified, that's all. However, it is very useful. The small self or the ego is very useful in survival, in society. So we don't drop it. We want the big self also, which is the experiencer. But we don't let go easily of the small self or ego. It is very useful. Without it, survival is not possible. Akash is now asking, should the behavior of ego change after knowledge? It is not compulsory. It is not guaranteed. It can change. It can start behaving differently, maybe more politely. It becomes less in size. Like we say, he has a big ego or small ego. So it becomes small ego. It is possible that there can be some changes. But it is not compulsory that anything should change after knowledge. Why should it change? It is an illusion. Nothing needs to change. It is whole and complete already. One thing is certain. One thing is guaranteed, that it will not become worse. Whatever this ego is, if it does not become pure or refined, it's not a big problem, but it will not become worse than whatever it is right now after knowledge. Given that the knowledge really happened and was not read or heard from somewhere. Because if you simply hear it, I'm Brahman, and that ego is now worse ego. That is the worst ego, because it does not really know the meaning of these words. In some people, some cases, it completely goes away, it disappears. And there are then in between cases, all kinds of cases, where the personality, behavior, thoughts, even the way the person talks, and relationships, and any worldly thing, jobs, all these change. There are cases like this. Why do we say some people did not change, some changed? What is the reason? I have seen one thing, although it is very subjective answer. I am giving my opinion here, that I have seen one thing, that people whose life goal or preallocation is knowledge, spiritual knowledge, they get the most change. They change drastically because it was their life goal. They were born for this thing, for knowledge. So complete overnight, sometimes complete change. And those people who are simply curious what kind of philosophy this is, what kind of thoughts people have, my goal is something else, they will say. I want to study things. Knowledge is not my real life goal. I just want to enjoy my life. They do not change much. I know it sounds really bad, bitter. Truth is bitter. You need to be born. It needs to be in your blood to be a seeker. Then you can expect something, some positive change. We don't want negative change, isn't it? Let us say we don't want this kind of change where this seeker hears, I am not the body mind, I am not the doer. And he just sits there, closed eyes. I'll not do anything because I am not the doer. The body mind need not eat because it is an illusion. A change happened, isn't it? But he became stupid. It is not called knowledge. He simply heard it somewhere. We don't want that kind of change. We want only positive change. Akash is saying, I experienced a change, a minor change, in a more controlled manner. I am in more control of emotions. I do feel need of purification, personality, ego. What steps can I take for this? Very good. Very good. So everybody wants this kind of control on body and mind. And it is possible through knowledge. Sometimes the knowledge directly will cause this change. Simply knowing the truth will change the person also, the illusory self also, small self. It is seen. However, if you practice, put the knowledge in practice, you can have a control over what changes, what not changes, how much it changes. You get more control. And that practice is called awareness practice. It is included in the program. In the step number 4 of the program, those who clear the exams, those who verify the knowledge successfully, they are given this practice. Then if you need purification, more changes, that means more positive changes, it is step number 6. Purification is step number 6 of the program. You are already in the program. What more you need? Go through the steps of the program. It is whole and complete. If you want to make so many changes so that it becomes just like a saint or a guru, you can imagine ideal guru. Nowadays we don't have ideal gurus. You can imagine an ideal guru. You want to become that. Then we also have that in the program. That is the step number 7, where the claim is that you actually become a part of the guru field, which is the purest form of a guru. It is not a person. So all the faults are there in a person, because as long as this body, mind and personality is there, it will never be so pure. There will be impurity somewhere. So our claim is that the path of knowledge will completely purify whatever this is. And this is the program. The program is not limited to the path of knowledge. There is practice and there is purification, which is not a part of path of knowledge, but it is a part of the program. The awareness practice itself is purification. No need to wait. But yes, this person is called layered structure now in our program. There are reasons for that. So the whole layered structure, all the layers can be purified as much as you want. Depends on the intensity of the seeker. Okay, Sunil is saying, verifying the knowledge and passing the exam are same or two different steps. They are two jobs. part of one step. There are two, you can say, sub steps of step 3. I mean, how will you pass the exam if you cannot verify anything? It's not possible, isn't it? So they are kept as one step, but it is recommended that you verify and only then you appear in the exam. The exam is not very big, only 10 questions orally. It is an oral exam. You need to answer it here in our meeting itself. It is recommended that you verify it. Otherwise, there is no point in appearing in the exam if it is not true for you. Verification means you are checking if the teaching is true or not. Exam means I am checking whether you understood it or not. So that and there is no confusion, there is no waste of time, so that we obtain some results. If I remove the exam, people will say I verified everything. that is a problem, isn't it? The intellect is very lazy. So the exam gives you a little bit of motivation to verify. I've seen that if the verification is not done, there is no chance of passing the exam, because the exam focuses on verification, not on listening whatever you heard, not on that. Akash is saying an ideal human. Perhaps that's my goal for time being. Very good. You are free to decide what is ideal, because if somebody else decides everybody needs to be like this, and that can be a problem. So you define what is the ideal for you and try to become that. Knowledge is a good start for that. From the point of view of path of knowledge, all humans are ideally good, ideal. They are perfect, whole and complete, just like the existence. So if somebody tries to improve these illusory forms, we call that person ignorant person. Now everybody must be shocked. Why is that? Because this is the hardcore path of knowledge. They are not interested in improving anything. What are you improving? They will say. Because improving the human form means that some attachment is left now with this human being. Why is there attachment? There must be some ignorance that I am related somehow to this human form. It needs to be perfect. So they will call you ignorant. However, we are not so hardcore. We know practical value of improvement of this human form. What happens is the purification and awareness will remove the negative things in the human form. Any negativity, any bad stuff, that is a science in itself. So what do we want actually? We want to get rid of the suffering by little bit of improvement. That is possible simply by awareness. That is possible simply by awareness practice. That's all. You see, we don't want to make this body mind everlasting, young and beautiful, and this mind bright, brilliant, most intelligent person in the world. No, our goals are very small. We want to get rid of the suffering, which is unnecessary. The goal of the awareness practice and purification practices are we want to simply remove the unnecessary suffering, even though it is illusion, even though it is a dream. We want this illusion to be happy illusion. We want this dream to be a good dream, not a nightmare. That much the intelligence agrees. Any intelligent person, even the hardcore non-dualist, Jnani will agree. Yes, you are right. And that is what great people said, you see, great gurus said. Get rid of the suffering. Why are you suffering? You have the knowledge. And that much is practical. But yes, to turn it into some kind of Superman is really ignorance. This is perishable thing. Mind body is, you can say, momentary. It can go tomorrow also. It can disappear. It can disappear anytime. So fully knowing this, we try to do a little bit to make whatever remaining life this thing has, this creature is allotted, we try to make it good life. And more importantly, we don't want to forget the knowledge, because we earned it with a lot of effort. Although you guys got it without any effort, many people, they struggle for many years, many lifetimes to get this knowledge. So we don't want to forget it. Moderation is required in purification also. Don't become mad for it. So how to know if the teachings are true? Check your experience. Check if they are logical. And if you cannot verify anything, you can come and you can ask it in our meetings. I'll try to verify. I'll try to point how to verify. And if still it cannot be verified, it is clear that it is not true then. If it is not true, there is only possibility is it is false. So the whole path of knowledge becomes false, because it is like mathematics. Even one thing is not true in all the steps in a math problem, the whole solution is false. So we sometimes call it falsification. You try to find a fault there. You try to find something which is false in the teaching. And if you find even one, the whole thing is false, useless. So I have done this for many years, but in our program, we give you sufficient time, a little bit of time, like 1 month or 2 months, till you clear all your doubts. Because simply listening will not verify it. It will cause more questions. It will cause more doubts. Simply listening. So you need to sit and contemplate. A contemplation method is also given in your step number 2. How to contemplate. How to verify. You are prepared for that verification step. And if you have any difficulties in verifying, you can come here in meeting and ask anytime. Sometimes I see people, they verify everything. They click the button, I verified everything. There is a button. Sometimes people are in habit of clicking buttons. I accept terms and condition. They do it everywhere. So they click the button. I verified everything. They think it is not important. And the doubts keep coming. Even after exam and even after the awareness practice, they get the certificate that you completed the program. Still doubts are coming. How is this true? How is that? I said, you did not verify it or what? No, I don't know how to verify. Sometimes they say like this. So still, they are most welcome. As long as you are in this program, you are most welcome to ask any question, clear any doubt in any step. I don't mind like this. Because yes, I know that the mind can go back in ignorance. It is possible. Even after verification, next day it will create some doubt. The illusion is not innocent illusion. The illusion has a quality in it that it tries to keep you in darkness. It tries to cover up the truth. That is called the projecting ability of the illusion. Or you can say deceiving ability of the illusion, that it does not let the mind abide in truth too much. So yes, after 1 year also people come back. It is all wrong. Whatever you told me is wrong. That other guru is telling the truth. It happens, you see, many people. That's why I don't expect that everybody will become a master in 1 month of verification. I don't expect this thing. What I expect is you will learn the art of verification and contemplation, isn't it? All of us are students. So we are learning. It is necessary to learn how to verify things. Not only the teachings of path of knowledge, you need to verify all the important things in your life. So that will end suffering. Even if you don't verify the path of knowledge, even if you get into an habit of verifying everything in the worldly life, that itself will clear the suffering. Because a lot of the suffering is caused by irrational actions, wrong actions we call them. No, they are not wrong, they are ignorant actions. So a lot of suffering is caused like this. So if you verify everything, somebody says, do this is true. You need to verify. You need to sit down. Okay, I'll do it. Let me check. And this way you will avoid a lot of wrong actions. So we teach it as a part of the program. Means of knowledge, criteria for truth, how to verify, how to contemplate. So at least start learning. My suggestion is like this. Even if you cannot verify some things, I don't know why it is emptiness. I see fullness, no emptiness. No problem. Click the button, because you have whole life. If you are dedicated seeker, you have your whole life to verify these things, these teachings. So I always put more emphasis on learning. Same for awareness. I don't expect everybody to get 24/7 awareness. Turiya state in 1 week. No, it's not possible. But I expect people to learn awareness practice. And that is the scope of the program, isn't it? I cannot run the program for whole of your life. So we teach some things here and then you're on your own. Hopefully all the doubts got cleared today. So we'll end today's meeting here. And if there are any more remaining questions, you can ask me next time. Thank you everybody for attending the meeting. Namaste.